Thank you for plugging into this Family Life News podcast, streaming issues-driven, family-focused news.
This is Faith Under Fire. Each Thursday on Family Life, we give voice to religious battlegrounds in this nation. I'm your host, Tracy Lynn. With us today, legal counsel Nick Reeves with Beckett Law. The Supreme Court has agreed to hear this case to decide whether the city of Philadelphia can force a Catholic foster care agency to allow same-sex couples to parent. Would you briefly unpack this case?
This case started in May 2018. Catholic Social Services is a Catholic foster care and adoption provider, and they've been caring for kids in the Philadelphia area for over 100 years. Through a news article, the city of Philadelphia learned that because of Catholic Social Services beliefs, they couldn't certify and endorse unmarried or same-sex couples. This had never been a problem, though, because there are 28 other agencies in the city that provide the same services, and in the 100 years that Catholic Social Services had been operating, not a single same-sex couple had come to them seeking to foster or adopt a child.
There were so many other places they could go to.
Right. I think there were 4 or 5 within just a few blocks of Catholic Social Services.
A little further north, in the Syracuse area, an adoption agency has been facing off against state officials under similar pressure. I believe that agency, New Hope, has been given a temporary go-ahead to continue doing adoptions, at least for now.
That's exactly right. So New Hope is somewhat similarly situated to Catholic Social Services in Philadelphia. The Second Circuit there sided with them and gave them temporary relief to continue serving kids as they've done for over 60 years, and that's great news too. We're hoping the Supreme Court, their decision to take on the Fulton versus City of Philadelphia case, suggests that they will find a way to protect these faith-based organizations, presumably by making clear to cities that if you contract or license or work with a faith-based organization, you can't penalize them just because you disagree with their religious beliefs.
Yeah, that's what I call religious freedom. I know that in this day and age where we have people like Senator Kirsten Gillibrand calling religious freedom a woman's right to choose what to do with her body, that's not what I think most people consider religious freedom. This is where we can adhere to our principles of faith. Can you tell us a little bit about who brought the case? I've seen pictures of 2 African-American women that have been foster parents for numerous children.
Yeah, so Sharon L. Fulton and Tony Lynn Sims-Bush are 2 of the plaintiffs in this case, and they've worked with Catholic Social Services for years now. Sharon L. Fulton is a single woman who's fostered 40 children in 25 years through Catholic Social Services. There's a couple great interviews of her talking about how important a faith-based organization was to allow her to do the incredible work she's done for kids in need. And I think that goes to one broader point that I would mention. Faith-based organizations are better able to recruit certain foster parents who might not choose to foster or adopt unless they can work with a faith-based agency, and they're better able to place certain children, like older children, sibling groups, or children with disabilities than their secular counterparts. I think they just really highlight the importance of faith-based agencies in this diverse array of foster care providers.
Yeah, and this case brings to mind all the need there is because so many children are in foster care and they need a good home.
It's somewhat ironic that in the week before the city of Philadelphia sought to close down Catholic Social Services, they put out a call for 300 more foster families. So they've admitted that they need an all-hands-on-deck approach, but they've been unwilling to work with one of the best agencies in the city that's been doing this for probably longer than any other agency, just because they disagree with their beliefs.
So Beckett is standing up for the plaintiffs in this case, and the Supreme Court, I believe, is going to hear it during the next session, which starts this fall.
Yes, the case will be argued probably in October, with the decision coming next spring or summer.
What can we do, Nick, as we move forward as listeners, maybe to support Christian foster and adoption agencies in our own area, but also to help bridge the divide of differences of opinion?
One thing that I always go back to in these discussions is that if you look at what's at stake, it's very easy to see why it's important to protect these faith-based agencies. On the one hand, you're protecting the ability of faith-based organizations to serve kids in need, keeping their doors open, helping more kids. 57,000 children are being cared for by faith-based organizations across the country through foster care. On the other hand, the arguments the other side is making would only force these organizations to close down as we've seen in far too many cases in Washington, D.C., in New York in some places, in Illinois, in Boston, Massachusetts. We've seen a number of these organizations close their doors because the government was unable to or unwilling to continue partnering with them because of their beliefs. So looking at what's at stake.
That's Nick Reeves with Beckett Law. I'm Tracy Lynn, Family Life News.